Hello everyone, JC De Guzman here for our top 5 gainers and top 5 losers analysis for May 17, 2019, that's Friday. And today I'm going to discuss my technical analysis together with my overall sentiment and trade setups or recommendations for these 10 stocks that you're seeing on your screen. I will begin with ICT. ICT closed on Friday at 139.90. The support that I'm seeing here is at 136.74. For its psychological resistance, I have plotted the Fibonacci to identify its psychological resistance, and in this case I am going to adjust um, the upper portion of our Fibonacci diagram. Okay, so the 61.8% of the up Fibonacci extension is at 154.50. That's considered as the psychological resistance of ICT. If this stock draws or falls below 136.74, we are expecting 120 pesos per share as its working historical support. Okay, so now this is what happened last Friday. Foreign investors bought about 179 or maybe 80 million pesos worth of shares. 80 million worth of shares. On the DMI histogram, let me just discuss this one quickly. The positive DMI has already bent towards the southward direction. However, this is not yet a confirmed change of sentiment from bullish to bearish. This bend in the last direction of DMI, the positive DMI, which is the green one, was caused by this red candlestick that was registered last Thursday. Even so, since the positive DMI is still above the negative DMI, and since the ADX is still above 25 points, I would technically consider this one as a stock that still has a technically strong upward momentum. Okay, so that's my reading based on its DMI histogram. For the RSI, I'm not seeing that it's still relatively in a neutral position, although it's closer to the classical overbought than the classical oversold level. I'm not yet uh, super alarmed by as far as the position of RSI is concerned. Of course, MACD has been bullish, and my 10 SMA and MACD combo, the conditions for that combination were met or satisfied last May 3, 2019. That was your confirmed buy signal. It appeared last May 3, 2019. Okay. Uh, if you, I would suggest that you read our quick start guide. Okay, so I suggest that you read our quick start guide to get an idea what this 10 SMA and MACD combo that I'm talking about. For those who have attended my previous advanced seminars, please refer to the handouts that I shared with you. There's a crystal clear documentation about this 10 SMA and MACD combo on those handouts. Okay, please check your email. I sent you unique or individual access to that exclusive page for the handouts. Okay, now let me show you the trade and volume distribution chart of ICT. So this is how it looks like. The dominant range is between 137.9 all the way to 140 per share. Well, it looks like it's at the center, but if we're going to be very technical about the distribution, I would say that the dominant range is still closer to the intraday high than the intraday low, but it's not super close. It's not super in bias with the upper portion of our trade and volume distribution chart. So, therefore, although I'm bullish on ICT, I would encourage you to consider selling on strength. What does that mean? You lock in profits every time maybe every time it registers a price higher by maybe higher by 50 centavos from its current price. Okay, especially if you hold a sizable number of shares on this particular stock. It's all the more that you should consider selling on strength. Okay, selling on strength does not necessarily mean that you will only sell once the resistance is literally achieved, met, or hit. You can sell on strength by tranches, maybe like the example that I gave you. You can sell on strength every time the stock achieves a higher a score, or achieves a higher price, higher by how much? Maybe higher by 50 centavos, 30 centavos, or 1 peso. It depends on your it's actually relative. It depends on how high is high for you. But for me, I am going to apply the sell on strength strategy for ICT every time the price registers a share price higher by 50 centavos from its previous price. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so that's another option, of course, aside from selling only if and only if your trailing stop loss has been hit. So that's your other option. For those who attended my previous advanced seminars in person, it's written in your handouts that preemption strategy that I shared with you during the seminar. Please read that handout again to for you to be reminded of what that preemption technique is. Preemption technique means preempting your trailing stop loss. What else? It means considering selling even before your trailing stop loss will be hit. So that's a preemption technique. So when will you preempt your trailing stop loss? The answer to that question is in those handouts. Okay. Now, although I'm bullish on ICT, yeah, consider selling on strength if you already have ICT. Now, if you don't have ICT and you would like to do some short-term trading for this stock, I would suggest that you calculate your reward to risk ratio first. Mind you, your resistance is no longer a historical resistance. It's already a psychological one. Okay, it was only derived from the 61.8% of our up Fibonacci extension. So it's all the more, what I'm trying to say is that it's all the more that you should be careful in trading a stock, especially when your basis for your reward to risk ratio is already a resistance that's already psychological and no longer a historical one. Okay? So be careful in deciding to enter a new position on ICT. Newbies, especially the newbies. And if you're happy with your reward to risk ratio, make sure that you should only buy not at any price, but within the most traded and most voluminous range. In other words, within the dominant range only. And where is that? Well, I just showed the trade and volume distribution chart to you a while back, and I also mentioned the dominant range. That's it. Okay? My overall sentiment is short for ICT. The short term is bullish. Okay, I just want to segue as well that this video is dedicated for those who are engaged into short-term trading. So everything that I say here comes from the perspective of someone who does short-term trading. Okay, long-term investors, please do not connect what I'm saying here on long-term investing. This is all about short-term trading. We have a separate discussion, another topic, another tab, another table, another forum for long-term investing discussions. Okay, moving on to the next stock in the list, we have Security Bank. It closed on Friday at 175 per share. On Thursday, it closed at 162 per share. This ascent in price was driven by a bullish volume. Bullish volume, not just higher by 50%, not just higher than the 50% of its 10-day volume average, but it's even higher, maybe around 30 to 40% higher than its 10-day volume average. And that supports the bullish sentiment for Security Bank, at least in the short-term basis. On the other hand, foreign investors did not, they did not, it did not sink into them the intraday bullishness of Security Bank last Friday. In fact, they sold about 23 million pesos worth of shares last Friday. And you know what? They have been selling for how many days? They have been selling for 8 straight trading days. 8 days in a row. 8 trading days to be precise. Okay? They have been net sellers for 8 trading days in a row. So apparently, since RSI almost touched the classical oversold level of the RSI last Thursday, apparently Security Bank considered 162 as a rebound zone. Apparently, that's what happened. Okay, so for Security Bank holders, they thought that 162 per share was already too cheap to ignore. So they bought back what they threw up for the past 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, support is at 160, resistance is at 185 within those ranges. It's already moving above the 10 SMA. However, I'm not yet seeing a perfect bullish alignment among the three simple moving average of Security Bank. On the DMI histogram, I'm already seeing a formation of a bullish convergence between the positive and the negative DMI. So when this happens, when the green line crosses the red line, and if the ADX will give us a score of at least 25 points, that would be a confirmation of a strong upward momentum. But we cannot expect DMI or the ADX line to give us a score of 25 points and above just because it shoot up, the candlestick shoot up going to the northward direction last Friday. That was just a day worth of bullishness. And that's not enough to make the ADX jump from below 20 to above 25 points. Okay, now let's take a look at the trade and volume distribution chart of Security Bank. So this is bullish for me. Why? Because majority, it's clear. It's visually clear that the majority of the trades and volume were registered towards the closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. And the dominant range is between 173 to 175, and there's another one somewhere between 170 to 172. This one here. Okay. Anyhow, the dominant range is closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. So all four conditions are met. What are those four conditions? Please take a look at our quick start guide. Read it again. Those four conditions are written there. For those who attended my advanced seminars in person, it's all the more clearly stated in your handouts what those four conditions are. What are those? The last price should be a green candlestick. The last price should be above the VWAP. In this case, the VWAP of Security Bank was 170.77 last Friday, so check. Third criterion, it should be a green volume bar that is higher than the 50% of the 10-day volume average of the stock. So in this case, Security Bank's volume last Friday is a green one. It's not just above the 50% of Security Bank's 10-day volume average. It's higher, in fact, higher than its 10-day volume average itself. Okay? So how about the last one? The fourth criterion is that the dominant range should be closer to the intraday high than the intraday low, which was the case last Friday, as I've shown you a few seconds ago on Security Bank's trade and volume distribution chart. So all four criteria are met, and that's your alternative when deciding whether you should enter a new position or whether you should top up if the conditions for our 10 SMA and MACD combo have not been met yet. And as you can see, the signal line is still moving below the MACD line is still moving below the signal line. Therefore, our 10 SMA and MACD combo has not been met yet. The conditions have not been met yet. Okay, but you have another alternative data-driven reason to preempt our 10 SMA and MACD combo. Okay, so New entrants, if you decide to play Security Bank for on the short-term basis, please calculate your reward to risk ratio first. This is your support, this is your resistance. I already mentioned the numbers a while back. If you're happy with your RRR, reward to risk ratio, then position your buying price within the dominant range. Don't just do a mini mo or whatever when determining a price point where you should buy. Okay, by the way, I'm using the first MetroSec Pro for charting purposes. Okay, subscribers, for those of you who are members or subscribers of Equilist Analytics subscription service for at least 1 year, you can check on your My Account tab if what type of subscription plan you are subscribed into, if it's just 1 month, 6 months, or 1 year, or annual. For as long as you're subscribed for an annual subscription or 1 year membership, just let me know. Send me an email. I will forward your contact details to First Metrosec so that they can contact you to have you fill out the application form for you to be immediately eligible to the First Metrosec Pro and for you to get 2 months free as well. Why? Because there's an eligibility requirement for anyone to have a First Metrosec Pro account. Just like with COL Premium, you can have the premium status unless you have at least 1 million pesos worth of capital in your COL account. Now, in this case, for First Metrosec Pro, you have to trade at least 150,000 worth of transactions, buying and selling within a month, or you should uh, deposit into your stock or mutual fund account worth at least 200,000 pesos. So if you don't like to put in 200,000 lump sum money into your mutual fund or stock portfolio account with First Metrosec, or if you are not yet ready to trade a cumulative amount of 150,000 pesos in a month, that should not be a problem because I have talked with First Metrosec Pro or First Metro Securities themselves, and I've asked them if they would be willing to waive those eligibility requirements for you and give you 2 months free, and they have agreed. Okay, provided you should you should have attended one my previous seminars, my advanced seminars, or you should be subscribed for 1 year or annual subscription of in Equidist Analytics for you to qualify. Okay, there's an article about that. Here's the article. Let me just show you that. So let's just open one article, and I'll show you where to find the details. Okay, for that. Open any of the blogs on Equilist Analytics website and then scroll to the bottom. You will find this. Do you want to be eligible for First Metrosec Pro immediately with 2 months free? Click this one and you will be redirected to the article or to the blog post that writes down in detail the requirements on how to be eligible to this one. So follow those steps. Alright, there you go. So let me go back to Security Bank. So I am bullish on Security Bank in the short term. If you are planning to enter a new trade on Security Bank, calculate your reward to risk ratio first with respect to the support and resistance that you see on your screen right now. If you are satisfied with the reward to risk ratio that you got, do a test buy within the dominant range. If you already have Security Bank for short-term trading purposes, let's say you bought near 160, maybe you can consider locking in some profits near 185. Okay, near 185. Same thing for the new entrants. Okay, now just entertain the idea of topping up. Let's say the price hits 160, 185. Of course, your next question would be, is the price more likely to continue to go higher than 185? Then we will assess when that time comes. We still don't have a data-driven basis to make a forecast for that. So on the day that that happens, post a request in our private clients forum, and I'll give you my latest analysis and sentiment, trade volume distribution analysis, market participant analysis, and any proprietary analysis that I can do for you when that happens. Okay? All right. We are data driven here. Okay? So everything that I say is based on the data that I have seen, that I have. I don't hold the crystal ball to tell you what will happen 3 days or 3 months, 3 years from now. Okay. Next, POPI, POPI. POPI closed on Friday at 3.31. Support is at 3.19. Should it break below 3.19 again, the acting support will be the previous one, which is 2.83. Now, of course, you would like to know what's the resistance of POPI now. It broke above 3.19 already. Don't worry, because I already plotted an up Fibonacci. Oh, not really an up Fibonacci. I did not use a Fibonacci here. I just used the historical, not psychological, historical resistance for POPI. And that is at 3.64. Okay. Hold on. Let me just check. Yeah, that's it. It's a historical resistance. Let me drag this one so you can see what makes it historical. This one here. Yes. So this is the historical, let me correct myself, historical resistance between 3.64 up to 3.86. That's the resistance range of POPI. Now, is the ascent in price of POPI more likely to continue? Well, let's check our parameters for us to make a data-driven forecast regarding the sustainability of the prevailing trend of this stock. First, MACD is bullish. The price is above the 10 SMA. Our 10 SMA and MACD combo, the conditions for this combination have been met. So on that point, I'm already bullish on POPI. Another one, I'm already seeing a perfect bullish alignment among its three simple moving averages. The DMI approves or confirms my bullish sentiment on DMI. Although the positive DMI is still above the negative DMI, it would be all the more my sentiment would be all the more bullish if the ADX gave us a score of 25 points and higher, but that's not the case because ADX is only about 12.48 points, 12.5 points, 12.5 points, 12.50. So we prefer an ADX score of at least 25 points or higher, even better. Okay, but nonetheless, on the DMI, it's already bullish. We just want the ADX to, we just prefer the ADX to give us a score of 25 points or and above for me to say that the upward momentum is technically in the quote-unquote very strong level. So it's strong, not just very strong. Let's just put it that way so that you can easily understand it into according to that perspective. Now, foreign investors sold about 2 million pesos worth of shares on Friday. Their participation is not that significant on POPI, by the way. Okay, so now let's check the uh, status of the 4 points that we're seeing. So green candlestick, check. It moved above the VWAP of 3.24, check. Green volume bar above the 10-day volume average, check. How about the trade and volume distribution chart? It's evenly distributed, so it's quite a challenge to determine a dominant range in here, because if I were to choose a dominant range here, I would say it's between 3.12 to 3.31, and that's almost close to saying that everything is a dominant range with the exemption of 3.11 and 3.1. So in this case, I'm seeing a certain, there's quite an indecision kind of sentiment that I can derive on the trade and volume distribution chart of POPI because of how the number of trades and volume were distributed last Friday. So even though I am bullish on POPI, here's my suggestion to those of you who have this stock. consider locking in some profits above 3.30 or anywhere above 3.5. Consider that suggestion. Okay, anywhere above 3.30 or 3.5. Lock in a few profits from, a few tranches. And if you don't have POPI, I suggest that you let 3 to 5 minutes to pass on Monday and then do a new trade and volume distribution analysis. If you can derive a bullish sentiment from your trade and volume distribution analysis, that's the time that you should consider the idea of entering a new position on POPI. Because I am not, just like the DMI, I am not over super duper whatever bullish on POPI based on what I saw on the trade and volume distribution chart of this stock. Okay, I am a half-hearted bullish. I am half-heartedly bullish on POPI, so to say. So there you go. If you don't know how to do your own trade and volume distribution analysis yet, or let's say you know how to but you don't have the data, you can post a request in our private clients forum. I'll come to the rescue. Okay? All right. Next, EEI. EEI closed on Friday at 9.39. The support that I'm seeing is at 8.87, while resistance is near 9.8. I am not yet seeing a perfect bullish alignment among its three simple moving averages, but nonetheless, the last price already went above the short-term and medium-term moving averages, specifically 10 SMA and 50 SMA respectively. Yep. Oh, including the 200-day SMA, by the way, including the 200-day SMA. I'm also seeing a formation of a bullish convergence between MACD and the signal line. Let me emphasize that that's just a formation, not yet a confirmed signal, not yet a confirmed bullish MACD. Okay, I am emphasizing that because that's in connection to the conditions of our 10 SMA and MACD combo. Now, maybe you still remember, sir, a while back you mentioned that if our conditions for the 10 SMA and MACD combo have not been met yet, you said that there's an alternative way of preempting the buy signal, and that is by checking if the 4 points that we always monitor are present. That is correct. So let's check then. Do we see a green candlestick? Last price. Yes. Did it close above the VWAP of 9.26? It did. Yes. Do we see a green volume bar that is higher than the 50% of the stock's 10-day volume average? Oh well, even more than that. So yes. So let's take a look at the fourth criterion, the trade and the volume distribution chart. It's closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. Where is it? Between 9.33 to 9.4. Okay? So for the newbies or the new entrants rather, you have a data-driven reason to do a test buy on EEI. But do it conservatively, please. Do it conservatively because with this ADX of a DMI, there are chances that EEI might just trade the range. Okay, range between 8.87 to 9.8. It's halfway past the midpoint, the middle of that support and resistance range. So when you calculate your reward to risk ratio, if you're happy with it, that's the time that you should consider entering a new position on EEI. Okay, so I am bullish on EEI, but you buy conservatively. Okay, so now let me take a look at the yeah, I showed you the trade and volume distribution chart already. Now let me see the let's see the chart of GSMI. So GSMI closed on Friday at 39.70. Support is at 36.64. Should it fall below 36.64, that will make 30.30 as its next support level. For its resistance, I have used an up Fibonacci extension, which is in confluence with the 61.8%, and that is near 46.4. That's the psychological resistance. Okay, and it also, I'm already seeing a perfect bullish alignment as usual. No, not as usual. That's not the right phrase to use. As it has been, rather, as it has been moving above the 10 SMA, 50 SMA, and the 200-day SMA. Okay, MACD has been bullish. It just continues. It has just continued its bullish ascent above the signal line. MACD. I'm referring to MACD. Okay, so I'm also seeing here that the three criteria for our 4-point criteria, 3 out of 4 criteria are present on GSMI. Let's take a look at the trade and volume distribution. The dominant range that I see here is between 39 to 39.8, so that's closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. So I am bullish on GSMI, but since we are just relying to the psychological resistance, if you already have this stock, please consider locking in some profits once the price crosses the 40 peso per share mark. Okay, consider locking in some profits. It's all the more that you should be careful in trading the stock. For the newbies, if you are literally a newbie trader, let's say you just opened your account a few weeks, days, or maybe less than 3 months ago, please choose another stock to trade. This is a very risky scenario for newbie traders already, because whenever a stock is just relying to a psychological resistance, it's all the more challenging to predict, to make a data-driven prediction to the likelihood of the sustainability of the prevailing trend of the stock. Okay, so there you go for GSMI. Next stock in the list we have Tech. Tech closed on Friday at 28 peso per share. Support is at 25.9. Resistance is at 28.4. If it breaks out above 28.4, it will make 32.77 or 32.8 as its next resistance level. MACD, I'm already seeing this is almost like a crossover already. It has already kissed, so to say, the signal line. So let's wait on Friday. We will see a confirmed golden cross above the signal line on Monday. Did I say Friday? Should be Monday. Okay, now DMI on the other hand is not yet on a bullish sentiment for tech. Okay, it's not yet bullish on tech. But let's see, are our 4-point criteria present? Are all 4 points present on tech? It's a green candlestick. It closed above the VWAP. It's a bullish volume. Now let's take a look at its trade and volume distribution chart. So the dominant range that I see here is between 26.7 to 28. So tech was conservatively traded last Friday, as we can see on the number of price points that were only moved last Friday. How many price points these are? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 fluctuations only. Okay, 10-point fluctuation. Okay, so anyway, the trade and volume distribution chart has a bullish sentiment on tech. So I am bullish on tech in the short term, but bearish in the long term since it's below the 200-day SMA on the daily chart. So if you would like to consider entering a new position on tech, I would suggest that you do it within the dominant range that I showed a while back. Okay. Now next stock, JFC, another index company. JFC closed on Friday at 277 pesos per share. Support is now at 266. Resistance is at 291. 291. Okay. And foreign investors have been bearish on Jollibee, JFC, since actually, let me just say this one. They have been actively selling JFC on a daily basis for 14 days, 14 trading days straight. And last Friday, they sold about 276 million pesos worth of shares. Okay. Last Thursday, they sold about 272 million pesos worth of shares last Friday. last Thursday rather. So on Thursday they sold 272 million. Friday they sold about 276 million pesos. That's already more than half a billion pesos worth of outflow of foreign funds on Jollibee last Thursday and Friday. Okay, include the other days for the last 2 weeks. For the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, that would be more than a billion pesos worth of outflow of foreign funds on Jollibee. So on the DMI, it's obviously bearish on Jollibee, and I think based on the data that we have seen, that I have analyzed, Jollibee is poised to test the support at 266 pesos. So we don't even have to check the trade and volume distribution from here. It's if you would like to do short-term trading on Jollibee, it's now is not the time. Wait for the dust to settle down. Settle down, as I always say, near the support level or even lower. Let's wait for those signs. What are the signs to know that the stock is already bound for a recovery? Well, check the presence of those 4 points that we always check. If they are present, all present, that's a sign that the stock is poised for a rebound. The most traded and most voluminous range for Jollibee on Friday was between 277 to 281.6. It's definitely closer to the intraday low than the intraday high. Okay, next stock in the list we have, I'm bearish on JFC. Do I still need to say that? Okay, next one, SSI. SSI closed on Friday at 3.2. Support is at 3.12. Resistance is at 3.43. It already moved back below, okay, below the 10 SMA. And MACD has already registered a death cross, meaning to say it crossed below also, below the signal line. So I am just emphasizing this word below because this is the exact opposite of what we want to see for us to meet the conditions of my 10 SMA and MACD combo. What do we want to see on our 10 SMA and MACD combo? We want these lines to cross above, not below. So therefore, what happened last Thursday when the price hit the resistance at 3.43, that was a sell signal already. Sell signal, not for the, especially for those who bought SSI uh, below 3 peso per share or below 2.84 or wherever, anywhere below the 3 peso mark. Okay, so for the new entrants, now is not the time to buy SSI. Let those decided sellers to throw up everything they have decided to throw up. Okay, unless and until those 4 points that we always check are present, all of them, do not entertain the idea of doing a test buy, period. Okay, now let me show you the trade and volume distribution chart. So the dominant range was between 3.2 to 3.32. This one here at 3.2 is a legit one because it got 21.5% worth of trades with 41% worth of volume. So I give the points to the bears as well based on this TD trade and volume distribution TVD charts, trade and volume distribution charts. So I am bearish on SSI. Wait for a pullback, either at 3 peso per share, 3.12, or below 3.12. Next, we have SLI. SLI or Santa Lucia Land closed on Friday at 1.8. It's already moving below the 10 SMA as well. Support is at 1.68. Resistance is at 1.9. MACD already registered a death cross below the signal line last Friday. Okay, it's a death cross. Our 10 SMA and MACD conditions have been invalidated, invalid already. Okay, so when the price hit the resistance near 1.9, that was a sell signal already. Not really a signal, but an opportunity. Okay, because we saw when the price went below the 10 SMA and MACD crossed up below the signal line, that was the confirmed sell signal. Okay, that was the confirmed sell signal. I'm already seeing a weakening upward momentum as well based on the DMI histogram. So let's see the trade and volume distribution chart of SLI. It's closer to the intraday high low than the intraday high, between 1.8 to 1.85. It's bearish. I am bearish on SLI. Wait for a pullback near 1.68. Do not enter a new position yet. If you have had SLI, it's either you already sell, preempt your trailing stop loss, or you strictly follow your trailing stop loss. But I suggest, based on what I see right now, to preempt your trailing stop loss. Sell earlier than your trailing stop loss. If you're not confident to sell everything because you think that it will rebound from 1.8, then you sell just a few tranches, not everything. Okay, last stock in our list, in our video for today, is MRC. MRC closed on Friday at 0.315. Resistance, let me just, okay, let's see here. Support is at 0.21. It's the 61.8% of the down Fibonacci extension. 0.21. That's quite deep, huh? Quite deep. Resistance is already at 0.32. Should it break above 0.32, that will make 0.41 as its resistance level. Or maybe before 0.41, that would be 0.37 right here. Let me just plot that line here. Okay, here, this one. Okay, so now let me see this. So there's already a MACD is already bearish on MRC, and the bears have taken over based on the DMI histogram. The downtrend momentum is already on a very strong level for MRC. Okay, volume was bearish last Friday as well. Let's take a look at the trade and volume distribution trend. So MRC traded conservatively in terms of the number of price points traded, but the dominant range is between 0.325 or 0.315 to 0.325. I would give the points to the bears still on based on this trade and volume distribution chart. So I am bearish on MRC, and I would suggest not to touch this stock just yet. Pick some other stocks, but not MRC for now. Okay, not forever, but just for now. Alright, so you have heard my technical analysis, overall sentiment, and trade setups and recommendations for these top 5 gainers and top 5 losers, these 10 stocks. If you wish to attend my advanced seminar so I can discuss these strategies, my proprietary methods in detail in person, you know what, it still makes a big difference to learn in person. That's why I do not create webinars and sell those videos to people who cannot, or maybe who don't want to attend seminars in person, because I prefer teaching in person to have that kind of connection with you when it comes to teaching. I was a teacher. I was a professor for 2 years after graduation, so it was my first uh, bread and butter. So that's why I still prefer teaching in person when it comes to teaching. Okay. Um, so if you were to ask me, what would you prefer, teaching in person or teaching through the private clients forum? Teaching in person. Okay. So I find myself more effective, or maybe that gives me the chance to, that gives me the clue to if I have to expound my explanation or not, because I can see the attendees facial expression, if I think they have already grasped the idea, or they have twisted their eyebrows and they seem to not to understand it fully. I can make some adjustments, but not through online. So through online, through videos, I just have to keep on talking, and I cannot see the person I'm talking with, or I'm talking to. So there you go. You can head on to the seminar section to find if I have an advanced seminar in your location, in your area. So I will have a few in, I think I will have a few in Angeles City in Pampanga, in Baguio, in Iloilo, Bacolod, Cebu, Davao, Cavite, and so on and so forth. In Tarlac, I also have one. I think it was a basic seminar in Tarlac. So there you go. This will be posted. If you have some questions about these 10 stocks that I discussed today, I have discussed today, please post those questions in the private clients forum in that exact thread where I post them right here. Go to short-term trading and then click on the thread for May 17 specifically made for this video, and that's where you should post your question. Okay, again, my name is JC de Guzman, your mentor at Equilist Analytics. Have a great day.